It's been debunked. Arsenal have shut it down. The lies have been ripped to shreds. And it just exposes this weird agenda. The agenda that stems through a bona fide, deep-rooted fear that rivals have about Arsenal. And with the football looking brilliant, barely conceding goals, winning most of their games, and they even know a defeat to a Bayern Munich or a defeat to a Chelsea doesn't undo how good this Arsenal team really is. All rivals have been reduced to grown adults on the internet. That's what you got to put this down to. Grown adults on the internet have been reduced to kicking off over another club's tifos. Now, we've been through these. We've spoke about these. We've put them up on the screen, all the different tweets of people talking about it being not designed by the fans, designed by the club. The manufacturers, the sponsors put it together. The club paid for it, and how this is just a joke. It's meant to be fan-led and fan-produced, and all the nonsense surrounding it. But it's now been debunked. Now, before we go any further, please like, share, and subscribe. Just, if you haven't subscribed yet, well, firstly, why not? But get subscribing. There's a button next to it that looks like a bell. Turn on the bell notifications, please, for us. Like always, can't wait to read your comment. And he said weed. Can't wait to weed. Wait to read your comments below as well. But also, if you've got any left, I know you only get a few a week, but please give this a hype. That would be amazing. But an article has been produced today to talk about Arsenal's tifo. Now, personally, I would never have read this article. For me, there are certain articles that come out about other clubs that have just no real interest to me. I don't read much about the supporters trusts or supporters clubs of anybody else's other than Man United, unless there's a story that's grabbed attention because of rivals, or it's ticketing. Ticketing I normally have a conversation about. But I've seen maybe 50 or 60 TikToks, and totally millions of views, dozens and dozens of tweets that have been retweeted and liked hundreds of thousands of times. The views on these tweets, millions of people have seen it. And that is significant to me. And I said yesterday, 2 days ago, and I'll say again, I am jealous. I'm genuinely jealous that Arsenal are in a position where the only thing people have to really pull on them, the only thing people have to really attack them with at the moment is who designed and paid for one of your tifos. It's absolutely hilarious. You know you're in a good place when that is happening. Now, an article has been released, and I'll start off by saying the article from The Athletic, it does say that the tifo was paid for and partly facilitated by the club. And before anyone jumps on it, well, Terry, how has it been debunked? Let me break it down. Don't type yet. Don't write your comments yet. Let me break it down to you. So the design, okay, so it says here the conceptualization and drawings were made by fans and supporters groups. Sorry, let me say that again. The concept was made by the fans and the supporters groups, and they appointed the illustrators. So it was the fans' idea. Multiple fans and supporters clubs came together, discussed the idea, how they wanted it to look. Of course, there was the embarrassment with what went out in the Champions League last year, and rightfully so that was called out because it was nowhere near the standard of any giant club across Europe. And the supporters put it together and they appointed the illustrators. It says here, the manufacturing and logistics is handled using a professional manufacturer. In this case, it was a company outside of Germany. To put this together, and that included delivery, stadium rigging, and everything else. Again, the fans worked alongside the club to do that, but of course the club funded it. It says funding and coordination. It says that provided that was all the coordination and funding was provided for by the club, which implies money, but we know, and that includes things like staff time, coordination with support, and of course permission for the fans to have the tifo installed. The clubs will have to give permission, which they were going to do. So it's not a grassroot funded tifo, but this idea that Adidas put it together, Arsenal designed it, the fans had no input, therefore there's no fan connection, has been debunked and is ridiculous. The only element of all these weird, almost maniac level accusations, because the fact that grown men are on the internet focusing on this is crazy to me, but it's made it comical. It's actually made this far more interesting than it needed to be. It shows there's a kind of a real deep-rooted fear, but that fear, that jealousy, that concern, that envy sitting amongst these people is to lash out and attack, as opposed to either ignore and walk on and let Arsenal get on with how good they are, or to accept it. And trust me, when you accept how good rivals are, it makes life so much easier and so much more pleasant. The only element of truth is that it was funded for by the club. And do you know what's really stood out to me this whole time? And this moves away from Arsenal. This element of fans like me, like you and others, we have moaned for years about the cost of shirts. We've moaned about the cost of tickets, the cost of away tickets, the cost of travel that the clubs don't help to supplement, the cost of the food, everything. The TV packages, the amount of money it costs to watch football. It's basically a second mortgage, if not more, for most people. But they love their club, they love their football, and we do it. It's passion. It's part of our individual culture and collective culture, in that fact. So the idea that Arsenal paying for this is suddenly a bad thing needs to be shut down. What the message from me is, and again, people will always see this as, oh, you're just defending Arsenal. No, it's about the right thing. I want all these clubs that turn over 500, 600, 700 million a year. I want all these clubs who have multi-millionaire, multi-billionaire owners to help fund this stuff. The fans already spend, especially the match-going fans that organise these things, they spend, especially the home and away guys, tens of thousands of pounds a year supporting the club. Isn't it an amazing gesture to add to the atmosphere, to add to the occasion, to add to the event of a huge game at your ground? Isn't it better that the club, maybe even more so the owners, so it doesn't come out of the... I mean, for me, it would be an even better story if an owner said, listen, we're not even going to take it out of the club's budget. I'm paying for it. Surely we should be advocating for more and more of this. But instead, a club does a good thing for its fans, and it's attacked by football fans. And that's one of my issues as I've got older. That's one of my issues with the tribalism. If you don't like it, my nan always used to say to me, you know, sometimes in life, if you've got nothing good to say nothing at all. And it isn't so much the attacking of Arsenal that bothers me. I actually thought it was funny. And like I already said, I'm jealous that we're not at a stage where it's being attacked. But there is a deeper issue here. A deeper issue which I have, over the last few days, taken issue with. I don't want this to catch on. I don't want everybody to go, yeah, that's right. It should only be paid for by the fans, designed for by the fans. Nothing to do with the club. So we're going to stick thousands of pounds a year more expense on clubs. Because clubs are now doing this 2 or 3 times a year minimum. What, we're going to put that more expense on the fans? These will be the same cretins, the same scumbags crying when the ticket prices go up, crying when Sky's prices go up, crying when the shirt price goes up. And by the way, and the reason I'm calling them scumbags is in this moment, just to shit on a club, they're happy for things to cost fans more money. It's like all those weirdos that do the whole, guys, we've got to do more for climate change. What are you doing this weekend? Yeah, I'm flying around the world on my private jet. Oh, we've got to do more for veganism. What are you having for dinner tonight? I bought steak. Yeah, you know, I've just got an issue with people like that. I really, really do. Like, practice what you preach. Come on now. But listen, Arsenal have debunked it. It was a load of nonsense. I want your thoughts. I want your opinions below. Like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.